Does this make sense?
Hey everyone, Tristan here. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. So please make sure that you share my videos with your friends, subscribe, like, and comment. And hit that notification bell in the corner. And thank you very much. Anyway, roll it.
Hello, buddy. How the heck are you? Tristan here with the life of Tristan today. Today, we're going to be talking about does this make sense? Now, I know I might have shouted out before, but does this make sense? Why don't we go ahead and check it out? Okay, so it's going to be kind of very silly, and it's going to be about does this make sense? Okay, so let's go and start off with number one. So, buddy, how are you doing? So, welcome to today's video, and in today's video, we're going to talk about, um, does this make sense video. So a while back, I think it was like maybe early 2020 or something like that, I made a video about does this make sense. Now what this means is that this talks about things that people did that aren't exactly the smartest idea or the brightest idea. So anyway, so we're going to go ahead and go into it. Okay, so make sure you like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 50 subs as my short-term goal and 1,000 as my long-term goal. So please go ahead and hit that like button and all that good stuff. Okay, so this here is this here, and I'm moving the mic closer to my face here, so that way you guys can hear me a lot more clear. Okay, so this here, right here, is my old bike, the Granite Peak, that got stolen. The Granite Peak was a piece of crap Walmart bike from Walmart. It only lasted me 3 years before it became a junker because it had suffered a lot of miles and it suffered a lot of rust. Things were breaking down, and that's what ended up happening to um, this bike. Now here's the old one, the one that we sold, but this one here is the one that used to be mine that I gave to my sister-in-law. Unfortunately, as soon as they got the bike, they never locked it up, and it was stolen. So that was a bummer because, and whoever stole it ain't gonna really get much out of it. But, it's off my hands now. I don't have to worry about it. We just gotta make sure that it doesn't happen again. Okay, so speaking about this bike here used to be in good shape, but what happened was both tires blew out within a year. The first time they blew out was when, um, I was, one time the back one first blew out. The dude tried to put air into it, and it popped right in his face, and he looked at me with this extreme malicely, like it was like a very pissed off look. And it looked like he was about ready to run after me and cuss me out and that type of stuff. Anyway, so then the second one blew not long after. So what he does is he flips the bike over upside down when he replaces the tire, and he scratches up my handlebar. The he steps on the high and low shifter, and he broke that, and he accused me of breaking it. No, you're the one who broke it. You're the one that weighs 200 something pounds, you know, versus a piece of plastic and metal. Of course it's going to snap and break. So yeah, so this now is a beater bike.
Maybe whoever stole it might be able to refurbish it and make it nice and new again, but I doubt it.
Number one, right? This bike I got 2017, but this one I had. This bike broke down the year I got it. Both tires went out, and the person who tried to check to make sure it was tired, the tire must have popped with air, and it made like a sound. He got all mad at me. He was like looking at me like, Tristan, did you know that the tire was about ready to pop? Well, yeah, there's some gloves on the ground. Let me see if I'm trying to pick those up. Even go watch these. I need to go and wash these eventually. That way I have them just in case. So the one back there is the one I have, and that one broke down. Also both tires. But we had some crazy things happen in that bike. So number one, the bike was not fully lined up with this area here. And somebody got all angry and they want to do some cheapy and to basically fine me because of that. Of course, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like it's really impeding anything. You'll basically be fine. But it's not. And so that's part of the reason why this stuff happens. Number two, the little step ladder right there in between this, or like pretend there's like something here, like maybe like a table. The step ladder is folded out. The step ladder is folded out. It's right here. And then you try to put your bike back and you close it up. Well, it appears that apparently someone doesn't like that. So then they yell at you for it. All because, and then you are looking at the person who's yelling at you, and you're slowly creeping away, and they're literally making a big deal out of it. Because you have no sense of power. But now it's not that big of a deal. But they would put something there, and they would get all mad because you would fold up there. It'd be more considerate, more make sense, but the person obviously cannot even think or comprehend to make that so. So that's one thing that, does this make sense? So
Was another thing that they messed up on. Okay, so here they have the doorknob. What they did to the doorknob was the doorknob used to lock, but what ended up happening was they locked it from the inside. Instead of taking the bolts off, instead of taking it apart, they go on the side to take a hammer to it and smash the knob and destroy it, and destroyed it. So then they put on some cheap $2 doorknob, maybe even cheaper than that. Put that on there. It just doesn't look good. It looks like poop in it, and it makes a loud noise when it closes. It's a piece of crap.
number two, does this make sense? So on this door, it had a lock, a door lock, just like all the other doors in this house. For whatever reason, it got locked on accident, and there was no, and instead of taking off the little bolts and all that and taking it out and, doing all that or getting a key, they decide to take a hammer and bam it, and bam it, and bam it, and bam it, till the whole entire doorknob breaks off, rather than taking the screws and all that stuff. So now, you have some handy dandy little doorknob there that, has happened. But yeah, that's it. Number two.
On the light fixture. Okay, so here's what happened. So they were carrying up a ladder up the stairs, and they held it the wrong way. Okay? You're supposed to hold it long ways, so that way you don't hit the stupid light. Well, he goes and hits the stupid light, and he knocks the light off its circuitry. So then he went and fixed it, and and it still to this day looks crooked. So yeah, not very smart.
So a period after we moved in, this little light thing got knocked by a ladder, and they knocked off the circuitry, and and so they kind of knocked it off, but then hopefully they're able to get to work. Instead, they just left it like that, and they're like, well, you know what? It's just something that might be fixed, but now it obviously works just fine.
Well, then they decide to take down this light fixture. So they were going to fix this light fixture for whatever reason. Instead of actually calling a professional electrician, which you should call a professional electrician, not somebody who does not necessarily know what they are doing. Okay, you're supposed to know what you're doing. You're supposed to call an electrician to fix whatever needs to be fixed. So they go and they fix this right here, this light fixture. They cut the power to the entire house. Now, a professional electrician said all that he needed to do was just cut off the power to the to the bathroom, but he didn't do that. He cut off to the whole house because he's afraid he's going to get zapped. Anyway, but that was not all that he did. He tried to replaced all the smoke detectors in the house and shut them all off. He shut the entire electric out for almost 6 hours. Both of these two incidents, 6 hours or more. It was a real pain in the butt to deal with because nobody likes to have power outages. Nobody likes it. Okay? Because nobody wants to sit in the dark. It's better if the electricity goes out during the day and not at night, because at night you can't see anything. And it's not fun at all. Not fun at all. Definitely not fun. You don't want to be this person to mess up like that. Well, it wasn't just that. Is that they didn't wire a smoke detector right, and an electrician had to come and fix it. But yeah, I mean, you don't need to cut the whole entire. If it's a wired smoke detector, just pop the wire right into the front of the smoke detector. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And if you're scared of doing it, then call a professional electrician.
Was some sort of housing problem with the light. Okay, so on a circuit breaker, there's all kinds of little buttons you can press to cut off certain power in the house. Well, rather than cutting off the power to certain parts, they just cut the power to the rest of the house. And it was out for like 4 hours. Okay, having a power outage in general is not fun, but having someone do this is not fun either. But now, it obviously works. So yeah. Now that's now an electrician's role is you gotta figure out the spots. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about a wood. So when you get a porch or something, you can always get a porch or something. Whenever something's painted or it's been sanded, when you sand something, you have to treat it before, otherwise it's gonna rot. And you don't want some gigantic mansion and then the entire deck gets sand, that whole entire porch gets sand, and then next thing you know, the wood has rotted away and you gotta take the whole thing down. And it won't be good if you fall right through that little deck. Does that make sense? Yeah. You want to treat it before it gets rotted. You understand that?
To talk in the mic because I don't want to be too loud. So in this little microphone here, I mean not microphone, the deck. So right here I'm telling the story of the deck where they went and had um, they sanded the deck. It was a very nice deck. They sanded it. Okay. What they did was they sanded the deck and they never treated it. For whatever reason, they decided to sand the deck. Like, this was stupid. There's no need to sand the deck. If you're going to sand it, you know, fix the issue. So the deck ended up, the wood rotted away on the deck. So then there was holes in the deck. So the entire deck had to be demolished. And, they didn't have a tool that would take off a piece to like a square thing. So what they had to do was what they had to do was they had to get somebody else to do it, and yeah, and left these huge, massive hole in the deck, like these huge, massive holes in the deck. Eventually, we were able to get the patio replaced, and that was the end of it.
Oh, and look who escaped. What are you doing? How did you escape? Oh, you escaped, you little crabs. Well, come here. Come here. He escaped, but doesn't know where he's gonna go. This
Little brown piece there with the black bars, that was our gate. Unfortunately, another idiot had went and was stupid enough, and he broke the gate because he wasn't paying attention. But hey, at least the other idiot, not the other idiot who broke the gate, um, he ended up he ended up doing more damage than the other guy could have caused. The other guy caused our home inspection to fail, but yet the other one destroyed valuable things. That's all I'm going to say. Lines. Okay, so let me explain this. So, I understand there are things that bother people, okay? But sometimes when you let that stuff overcome you, it becomes more of a bigger problem, okay? This person had had some unfortunate issues with these blinds. Okay, these bedroom blinds that you see here, the ones that you see right in front of you, they were not my original blinds. What happened was I used to have blinds that were blackout blinds, where they would completely block out the light. Well, one day I come home and it's dark out, and I see that my bedroom light is on, and I see my window is wide open, and I'm like, oh no, what did they do? And sure enough, they broke my blinds. For whatever reason, they had to mess around with it, and they broke it. They were probably trying to cut the ends off, like they were trying to do, and they broke those blinds. Those blinds were very nice blinds. I don't know if he was jealous because they were blackout blinds, or if he was just trying to, he couldn't help it he couldn't help to not be messing with them. I mean, those are pretty good blinds, and yet they're destroyed. That there really made me mad, because I had to go about a week with a using a blanket to cover the window because people can see right in. The neighbors that lived behind us could see right in. I was mad. So then he replaced my blinds with the ones in the rest of the house. Shortly while after that, he goes cuts the extra half off the blinds. So now the blinds are pretty much toast. He cut the bottom of those blinds. He did. He cut the bottoms of the blinds. And when he cut the bottoms of those blinds, the strings fell out and you couldn't lift up the blinds. So what ended up happening was, if you wanted to put up the window, open the window and move the blinds up, you'd have to wrap the blinds up and be able be able to open up the window. And what I did was I took a blanket and put it underneath the window, so that way, um, so that way the that way the light doesn't come in, and I had to put tape all over the window, all over the blinds, and yeah, so that was just terrible. So the new people that had to move in, they had to replace all of those blinds. They had to replace all those blinds, and that caused us to lose money. So yeah, thanks a lot. But guys, let this be a lesson. Do not cut lines. I don't care if it makes you have to punch yourself in the face. Don't ever do that. Okay? And if you're not certified to do something, don't do it. Because just because you're masculine and you might be, having a decent build, doesn't mean that you are able to do those things. So yeah, let that be a lesson to you.
Makes sense. Now, I think I pointed this out before, but now, the person who might have done this might be watching this video, but I'm not trying to put you out in the spot and make you feel bad. I'm just showing you that this is not what you want to do to take care of this issue. So, you guys know this is a blind, right? You guys are pretty smart. Well, on these blinds, there's like a little bit of like a little plastic piece right under it, as well as some extra blinds. Well, there were strings that are attached. For whatever reason, somebody, not everyone likes to have, are kind of persistent in not having this bother them. Well, guess what they did? They cut the bottoms of this, removing the strings that would pull this up. And as you can see, those little clicker thing. Okay, you see that little clicker thing? It's not there. It's not even there. Because the blinds are not even operational. You can only open them and close them. But besides that. And also, this blind was being replaced by my original blinds that would make this room very dark. They were dark brown blinds. They were dark brown blinds and all that kind of stuff. And I come home and I see and it was late, 6 o'clock at night, and I see that my blinds are missing and my bedroom light is on. And I come inside and then I was told that my blinds are broken. They were working just fine. Just fine. And you know what that means? Somebody was trying to fidget with them and they end up breaking it. So yeah. So it doesn't get that dark in this room like it used to. And I put this blanket here to kind of cover up the open area. But before I got this replaced, I had to put like a blanket or towel over it. Not a fun time. Not fun at all. So if you don't like having this plastic whatever's under here, please, and I say with all the respect and love of the world, do not cut it. You're going to break the blinds and you're going to have to get them replaced anyway. Do not do it. And so yeah, so it's going to be like this until it ends up getting replaced. So I had to put these little things over it because the sun would be beaming into the room. So yeah. Just do not cut it. And that makes sense. Does this make sense?
Okay, so now I made a shorts about this not long ago, but this is something that would bother most people. So my wall in my room used to be blue. It was light blue all around, but except the wall in the back was brown colored. Why it was brown colored, I don't know why. But what they decided to do was they were going to paint the wall blue in my room. So what ended up happening was, um, what ended up happening was, is um, is my wall was painted blue. And what this person did was they took the paint and they painted it blue, but yet they did not use the correct precautions or was detail oriented. He was not detail oriented. All he did was take the roller and roll it up and down, up and down, up and down, and he got it on the trim, on the framing or the trimming, whatever it's called, things that you have in homes. Okay, he goes and messes up that trim, paints it blue. That looks like crap, like absolute crap. And this person should have paid more attention, but they didn't. Okay, as you see on the left side here, it's perfectly nice, and then you look on this side, looks like crap. So he goes and paints it all the way up and down, even getting up to this trim right here. So he was obviously in a rush. I don't know if he was angry because, he was angry about it because he had to move my stuff out of the way or something, because he would always do this crap when I'm not around. And then stuff would get broken. He was like, "Oh, we're too bad. That's what you get for being a brat." And you know, um, so he goes and paints it like that, okay? And he doesn't go and paint over that to make it nice. And so, for somebody who decided to paint it like that, they should have been more thorough. But yet, sometimes people are just a little bit of lightheaded.
But let me go and show you something here. So when we moved in, this wall was made from, it was made, it has some sort of wall texture on it, like it's not like regular drywall. But on this wall, it used to be covered brown, and the rest of the room was blue. So what happened is it had gotten painted, but as you can see, not that perfect. And as you can see, there is blue on the white trim, which, whenever you paint, you put blue tape. Blue tape. I'm going to say it again. Blue tape. You want to put blue tape around the trims so they don't get painted. And if they do, you would paint it. But it wasn't even fully painted. There's a little bit of brown there. You have to make sure it's fully painted so that way, it looks nice. But as you can see, there's blue coming along this trim, which doesn't really bother me. It probably may bother me. And look, it's all the way up on that. Man, they must have been they must have been in a hurry to do that. Uh-oh. You guys know what paint is. I hope white paint can get that out. But yeah, take your time when painting because it may even be bad. Alright? And it will never be operational. So if my bike has to get serviced, I will use this one. Which this one hasn't had anything happen to it. But I never let nobody touch it. You're not going to flip it over on its side. You're not going to touch anything and then blame it on me. Because you know what they say? Liar, liar, pants on fire! Get it? Liar, liar, pants on fire? Yeah.
So this is going to talk about, this is not necessarily their fault. This is just something that happened. But they had put in a ceiling fan right above the door that goes into the house. Okay? We used to have 2 ceiling fans. What ended up happening is an electrician came by and he noticed that the fan was wobbling as it spun around, and it was like some old-fashioned fan, like in the 1900s fan, it was old. And what ended up happening was is that the light was arcing, and so um, it was an electrical issue with the fan. So an electrician came, took down the fan, and they left that hole open.
Guys, as you might know, we have a fan in here that we don't really use that much. It's really dirty. But we used to have some old fan that had to get scrapped. This used to be a light, so we got a second lamp. This was a light. This was a fan. And what happened during this fan is it was an old fan. It was shaking around like crazy. And this one morning, it had like some sort of spark or arc or whatever going on with it. And and when we're trying to take it down, the globe ends up falling and gets shattered. And then where with the globe? And then we had to completely take it down. And then our neighbors were over here, and they end up witness it. So we had an electrician come over, and they were able to get fixed. And then this. Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Yeah, it's a bird called a cockatiel. Who is that? He's not usually around men. Who is that? Who is that? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Ricky. Mr. Wicket. Now I have to say, it is something that I'm kind of being a little bit too critical about. But, yeah, you do not want to cut the bottom of the blinds, especially if it is expensive blinds. But don't be doing that. But don't be removing the steering wheel off my 2020 Camry. Don't do it. I don't have a Camry. I'm just making it up. Or don't do anything that's bad. Because you know what, guys? I'm not trying to be too critical. It's just that, just don't be, and I mean don't be, doing the stuff I did. Like I showed an example of. You don't break someone's stuff, don't break someone's bike, and then, la, pants on fire! Get it? La, pants on fire? Anyway, you do not want to break someone's bicycle handle or thing, whatever, and then blame it on them when you clearly stepped on it. Also, don't cut the bottom of the blinds because now you can't pull it up. Yeah, not good idea there. Also, you don't want to rush when painting. If you rush while painting, you're gonna not make it look nice. Take your time. And then lastly, I can't hold up fingers. It's a whole thing with my fingers. Pretend that this one finger's not there. And also, don't cut the whole power to the house. Find the locations of the circuitry. Have an electrician do it for you so that way you don't mess up the electricity and risk something. You don't want that to happen. And lastly, do not, and I mean do not, break a doorknob. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can unscrew it or do whatever you need to do to fix it. Do that so that way you don't end up having to get a whole new doorknob because you bammed it off with a hammer. Not a good idea. And then lastly, don't get upset because someone has something changed. Like they closed the step ladder. Because you're not using it. It makes more sense. So yeah. And all that ties up to one question. Does this make sense? So hey guys, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe,